Probably the most interesting storyline to come out of the Phoenix Suns this year has to be what's going on with Devin Booker. It seems like 2024 Devin Booker is not at all what he's been over the past couple years. This man at one point was a top 10 player in the NBA and someone that could score at will and do just about everything. But this season, it seems like he's taken a step down. If we look at his stats, at the time of recording this video, he's averaging 24.9 points per game, which is the lowest amount of points he's scored in a season since 2017. He's shooting 43.2% from the field, which is the lowest he'd scored since 2017. And it's not like his three ball is falling because he's shooting 33.5% from three. And no, it's not the lowest since 2017. It's the lowest since 2018. I'm confused because this was supposed to be a career year for Devin Booker. Over the past couple years, he's slowly gotten better as a player and has become more prominent in the Suns offense. But as we can tell from this season, he has not done that whatsoever, and he's been a completely different player. And as a Suns fan, I can definitely notice it. This man Booker has the ability to take over games and score at will. He can completely change the dynamic of the game just by himself. But this season, he hasn't done that, and there's a couple reasons why. I think we need to talk about the Olympics first. The 2024 Team USA team was one of the most talked about Team USA teams in quite some time. And the role that Devin Booker played was kind of a role that we haven't seen from a lot of stars these days. We know that Booker is a guy that can average you about 30 points per game, but that ability is honestly pretty irrelevant when you're on a team with Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. I mean, honestly, if we look at this roster, any of these guys are a #1 option on their team except for maybe two. So what did Devin Booker do on this team exactly? Because he obviously wasn't going to be the leading scorer. Well, in the most serious way possible, this man was the perfect role player. He could play really good defense. He could be a playmaker when he had to be. He could be a great shooter, just someone you can throw to the ball to and he's going to take the shot and more than likely make it. But honestly, why are we even surprised by that? Because the year before, Kyle Kuzma asked if there were any USA basketball players that could play a role. And when Booker quote tweeted saying, "I'll do it," people laughed at him. Yet, if you ask a lot of people a part of that Team USA team, they would tell you that Booker was the unsung hero. And to be fair, I do think the role that Booker played was one of the more underrated ones. But that's really something that's only going to work for Team USA. That is not going to work for the Suns team that this man is on. Especially when Kevin Durant has been out for a majority of the season. In fact, this man is currently injured at the time of recording this. When Bradley Beal is injury prone, but when he does play, he's not even a 17 points per game scorer? Holy I was spot on. I didn't even look at my phone to see this. And listen, I personally think their bench is the best it's been in quite some time. And by quite some time, I probably mean 2021. So I say all of this to say that Booker cannot play the way he's playing on this team. Now, do you guys remember the characteristics that I used to describe Team USA Devin Booker? A great shooter, a great defender, and a great playmaker. Now, if we talk about playmaking, he's averaging similar assist numbers to last year. I do want to remind you guys that last year he was the team's point guard. This year he's not, yet he's still able to get a ton of assists, which is an interesting dynamic, but nevertheless, that's good that Booker's a playmaker. But what about his defense? Well, there's no easy way to say this, but Devin Booker has been piss poor on defense this year. And it sucks to say because I'm someone that has said before he could be a great two-way player, but this year he's been a no-way player. It's not like he doesn't have the ability to be a great defender. It's not that at all. It's that his effort has just been terrible. He waits around to get a rebound. When he's going up against the defender, he's just letting him blow by. It's honestly pathetic to see. Without Kevin Durant, Devin Booker is the undisputed leader of this team. And when you're seeing the leader of your team just being lazy on defense and letting people blow by and taking terrible shots, it is going to rub off on this team. I mean, why do you think the Phoenix Suns have had a terrible defense this year? It's not like they don't have the pieces. They have the pieces, but they're just not doing anything. Let me remind everyone that when Kevin Durant was traded to the Suns, I was a part of the minority group that said that Devin Booker still owned this team, that he was the leader, he was the #1 guy, it was Devin Booker. But yet the Phoenix Suns this year are 12-11. And do you want to know the Phoenix Suns record without Kevin Durant this year? They are 1-9. With Kevin Durant, they have a record of 11-2. And like I said, without him, they're 1-9. So with Durant, they go from a team that can be the #1 seed in the Western Conference, which at one point this year they were, to a goddamn lottery team. So it's obvious to me that there is a clear difference with Kevin Durant and without Kevin Durant. So any person that still thinks that Booker is the leader on this team, the alpha, the whatever you want to call it, that's no longer true. And look, I get it. Any team that has Kevin Durant that doesn't have him in the lineup, they're obviously going to struggle. But for the team they have, for the team they put together, it should not be this bad. Now you might be saying, Spex, how bad could this team possibly be? Well, let's talk about it. I am still very sick. I don't know if it's getting better or it's getting worse, but we're making videos, so that's all that really matters. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. At the time of recording this video, we're a little under 600 subscribers away from 25k, and honestly, it would mean the world to me if we could hit that goal by the end of the year. If you guys enjoy raw, unfiltered NBA content 3 times a week, then this is the perfect channel for you. And if you end up subscribing to the channel, but you don't like the content, you can unsubscribe at any time. It is totally free to try it out, but I do think if you stay, you're gonna enjoy what you're watching. Again, I don't have that many things to say, especially because I can barely talk, so let's just get right back into the video. A couple days ago, the Suns had a matchup versus the Orlando Magic. They were on a 2-game losing streak, so getting a win here could be really helpful. Now this Orlando team is pretty good, except there's just 2 problems. Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero are both out because of a right torn oblique. Now you would think the Suns easily won this game. Well, if you thought that, you'd be wrong, because the Orlando Magic won 115 to 110. And yes, they did not have Kevin Durant. I understand that. Oh, but Spex, they didn't have Yusuf Nurkic. Shut the up, dude. Oh, and you're probably wondering how Devin Booker did. Well, he had 25 points on 8 of 21 shooting. Oh, you think that's bad? Well, wait till you find out he had 21 on 6 of 16 shooting from the field with 5 turnovers versus Miami. But Spex, what about the game versus New Orleans? He had 28 points. Yeah, on 6 of 20 shooting. The only reason this man had 28 is because half his points were off free throws. I know it's a joke on Twitter that 2023 Booker's dead, and honestly, they might be right. So some of you might be asking, Spex, what is wrong with Devin Booker? Because really, I've only brought up 2 possibilities. And if I'm being real, I think it's a mix of both of them. The type of player he's trying to be, like Team USA Booker, that man, he's not going to work for the Suns. But yet, he's not playing like that. He hasn't been a good shooter. He's lazy on defense. His playmaking has been okay, but it's probably because he just doesn't want to take the shot. I know I said it's a mix of both, but I do think if it was like a fucking big ass jar of cookies and you had 100 cookies, I think like 65 of the cookies would probably be no Kevin Durant. Because like I showed with the records and like I've showed with everything I've said in this video, the Suns are a way different team without Kevin Durant. And I think Booker, he just doesn't care when Durant isn't there. I think he knows that without Durant, they're not going to actually do anything, and the leader of the team is gone. And of course, when the leader is gone, many people are going to just start lacking. I think it was last year Booker said he didn't know how people were going to guard them respectfully. Well, they didn't need to guard all of you. They needed to rely on KD getting injured and guard your ass, because when great defense has been applied to you, you've been piss poor this year. There is a small part of me that does think when Kevin Durant eventually comes back from injury that Booker will get back to his older self. But I do think that if you're supposed to be the leader of the team, that you shouldn't rely on another person to come back for you to do well. If I'm being real, the best case scenario I see is them being a 2nd round exit. The worst case scenario is a complete rebuild after this season. I don't know, maybe I'm just bullshitting.